Time to get out to the Rude Guest Hotline, bring in our guy, Barstool Nate. Rude, the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV. Nate, Caps up 1-0 in the series. What's going on, man?
Hold on. Explain what just happened. They're mad that you let the song play too long?
Apparently.
Nah, I think that was good. I like when it gets into the chorus. I think that was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why, Jeff just wants to cause problems.
He wanted to mess with Tobi. That's all that was.
It's typical
That's
Jeff.
all right. That's all right. Yeah, just do some trust falls after the show. You'll get back on the same page.
Nate, give us your take on the Caps game last night. Yes, they won the game, but that third period had me worried like hell.
All right, BMitch, I'll put it this way. For the first 48 minutes, the Caps played the most physical hockey I think we've seen all season. The Canadians could not skate with us. They could not outchance us. They could not out-hit us. They could not do anything. The final 12 minutes of the game, I don't know if the Canadians saw something or if it was just a matter of the Caps taking the foot off the gas and hoping to coast to a win. But, yeah, you can't do that in the Stanley Cup playoffs, even if it's game one, even if you're the one seed. It has to be, maybe not 100% like that first 48 minutes, but you can't go down to 50%. Let's find a happy medium at 75%. So the Canadians put two in, went to overtime where Ovi just had to put the team on his back, as he does, to give us the win. I can't say that I'm worried. I can't say anything like that. I think the Caps proved that we are the better team, that we belong to be the one seed, et cetera, et cetera. My original prediction was Caps in 5. I think Montreal does win one in their home building. But the Caps are a better team. We just are.
Yeah, I think the most encouraging thing for me, Nate, was, you saw them get back into that lull a little bit at the end of the game, but we were all wondering going into the series if they could flip that switch, and they answered that resoundingly yes in the first two periods, especially first 10 minutes of the game.
Let me speak on that real quick. I have never seen a narrative about a one seed who locked up the playoffs in mid-January, it feels like. I mean, the Caps were so good that we locked up the playoffs in the one seed so early that the national media started this narrative that the Caps are actually bad. It's one of the more bizarre things. I mean, the national media is a lot of people from Canada, and we're playing a Canadian team, and our star is Russian, and we've always known that there's this bitter rivalry that they created between Crosby's Canadian and Ovechkin, who's Russian, and the Caps, et cetera, et cetera. And so you got these Mark Messiers and these PK Subban who are just saying that the Caps are like bad now because down the stretch when we had everything locked up for weeks and weeks and weeks that we lost a few games. That was the point. We were so good that we could rest the guys and take some days off. That was the entire point of locking up the playoffs so early. So, no, I was never concerned about this team of veterans, guys like, Tom Wilson and Ovechkin and Carlson and the best coach in the NHL behind the bench. I was never concerned that we weren't going to just, flip the switch back on, not even for a second.
I understand what you're saying, Nate, but you can lose something when you don't play your best hockey. And I think that's what the people are trying to say, where will they be able to get back to that? That third period was not what they played. And if they played a little longer than the third period like that, they're going to have a problem. So can they just get back to what that rhythm was before they took the foot off the gas?
Yeah, absolutely. The Caps were so good this season. They understand how to play together. It's the most tight-knit, group of players I think we've ever seen. Still a little shorthanded. Thompson played, I think, pretty well last night coming back from injury. Protas, Carberry saying he could play this series. So, him coming back would be.
We lost somebody else today earlier.
Yeah, Ferravari done
so
for the
Martin
playoffs.
Ferravari going down, just a solid defenseman. You don't want to see that happen. He tore his meniscus April 15th, which just stinks. But, it's next man up mentality. It sucks that he goes down. He'll miss the rest of the playoffs. But it's kind of like what I was saying with Protas. If you can't win, without one guy, then, you can't win in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Guys are going to go down. Guys are going to get hurt. I think this team is built to withstand injury. I think we've seen it all season long. So, no, I'm not worried about, losing down the stretch in the regular season, and I'm not worried about 10 minutes of the third period last night.
Yeah, I think overall, what'd you make of Logan Thompson getting back in the net? I felt like overall he was solid yesterday. The exception that second goal was a little bit frustrating, but I think overall you got to be happy with getting him back in net. Because personally, I was thinking maybe you go with Lindgren since he'd been playing the last couple of weeks, but now you kind of don't even have to worry about the rust or anything. He's got a game under his belt, and they happened to win the game as well in game one. Thought he looked pretty good returning to the net.
Yeah, I wanted LT in the net if he was healthy. I think he was clearly the better goalie all season. The dude went 31-6-6. That's just absurd numbers. 7th in the league in goals against for the regular season and tied for 9th in save percentage in the regular season. Logan Thompson is the best goalie on this team. He gives the team the best chance to win. And, as you said, besides the second goal where he was wildly out of position, I think he played extremely solid. I think the defense didn't play their best, but LT was back there just standing on his head when he needed to. So, yeah, I never for a second wanted anybody besides Logan back there.
Talk with Barstool Nate on the Rude Guest Hotline. What do you want to see them a little bit better at in game two? I mean, I think those first couple periods were good. So I think you found some positives against this team, but they did give the Canadians a little bit of hope with that third period. What do you want to see them do a little bit better in game two?
Well, at the very beginning of the game, Connor McMichael had two kind of point-blank scoring chances that if one of those two goes in, I think the series is over, like in the first 5 minutes. But Montreal, to their credit, they withstood a lot of early chances from the Caps and kept themselves in the game. I want to see the Caps score early and often. I want to see them, just bury these chances, convert when they need to. The hitting is going to stay. The intensity is going to stay. The good penalty kill is going to stay. All that stuff is going to stay. I just want to see them get ahead early and not have to, give us all heart attacks when we don't need one. I think the Caps are that much better that it shouldn't have been stressful last night, but it was. And that's what happens when, you play in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Stuff's going to be stressful. It's not going to be easy. I want to see them come out game two and, put two in early and win the game 4-1. I don't want them playing overtime every night. Ovi needs his rest. Ovi needs, just to take a little break.
Well, I was going to ask you what your prediction was for game two, and you gave that to us right there.
I honestly, I think 4-1. I think the Caps come out, play their game, and the Canadians are just a mess out there. That's my official prediction.
What'd you make of Ovi? I mean, he's just so special. You talked about putting him on, putting the team on his back and those things. He's so special, and for a season that had him break the record, all these things. First time scoring an overtime playoff winner like that, and in game one of this momentous season was so special. I don't even know, like BMitch was saying earlier, you can never be surprised by what this guy does at this point because he always just lives up to the moment. But just how special was that?
Yeah, it reminds me of like Tom Brady when he was playing on the Bucs. And people are like, how is Tom Brady doing this? And then he's like, oh yeah, he's Tom Brady. Of course he's doing this. We shouldn't be surprised. Ovi's having 2 goals, 1 assist, 7 hits in the game-winning goal in overtime. But it's so special to see. You're like, this guy's 39 years old. He's done it all. He's the all-time scoring record holder. He has the Stanley Cup, and he's still doing this. It's so impressive. We just got to drink it all in, soak it all in, because we don't know how much longer we have with him in the league. We know he's under contract for next season. We don't know what's happening after that, and he's still out there. I tweeted it last night. He had a game at 39 years old that most players in their prime couldn't even dream of having, and that was just game one. So, and he gave an interview. I don't remember with who. He goes, "Yeah, like it's the playoffs. It's every shift matters. Like you don't take a shift off." And when you're seeing your 39-year-old captain play like that, it inspires everybody up and down the lineup and roster. We're like, oh, if Ovi is playing like that, I got to play like that.
So you coming to the game tomorrow?
Dude, the schedule is wildly unfortunate.
Man, stop making excuses.
We don't have
you coming to the game tomorrow?
Well, here's the thing, BMitch. Barstool Nate doesn't travel for first round. You know that. So if I have to travel for a first round game, something is very, very, very wrong. We should win in 5, and I'll see you for the second round.
Okay.
Or I'll see you for a potential game 7 at home.
You're making an excuse. I understand.
It's not excuses. I have too much faith. BMitch, I have too much faith in this team that has to travel for
But you want to see the whole
a
thing, Nate. Sometimes you want to see it all the way along the way, not just at the end.
Brother, I go to as many games as possible. I can't take off work like JP every 2 minutes.
That is valid.
Hey, man, like JP said, if you got them, use them.
And to be fair, Nate, I thought I'd filled in enough at this point to be known. I was referred to as the other guy earlier today, so maybe JP needs to take a little more time off.
No, you're known. You're like a broadcaster's broadcaster. People look forward to you on the air.
Well, I appreciate that, Nate. I wasn't fishing for a compliment there. Well, what do
Nate,
you?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, it was.
How far, seeing how they played coming out, how far do you think this team can go? I mean, is this the team that you think, if they can keep up the sort of play that you saw early on, that can go on a full cup run, or what are some of the things that you want to see them do to make you feel a little more confident going forward?
100%. I think we saw it during the regular season that when this team is at their best with all four lines going, that they can be an unbeatable team. I think they're the best coached team in the league. I think we have all the depth. I think the power play is unbelievable, and 5-on-5 is unbelievable, and the penalty kill is unbelievable. Protas was a big part of those last two, the penalty kill and the 5-on-5. And when he's back, it's just he's 6'12", 400-pound monster out there.
And Nate, 6'12". That's just 7 feet, dog.
Yeah, he's 6'12", 400-pound
Don't say
monster.
6'12". I hate when people say something like that. 6'12", you can't say that.
That's what he is. I don't make the rules. So I think once he's back, it's just a whole new dynamic to the team, and they go as far as they go. I don't think there's a ceiling on this team. I think the cup is what everybody has their eyes on. I don't think there's a single player in that locker room who does not think that this team is not good enough to win the cup.
Talking with Barstool Nate on the Rude Guest Hotline. How good of an addition has Beauvillier been? I mean, seeing what he was able to do last night, and it was someone that's brought in at the trade deadline.
Yep.
And once again, just another example of why this Caps front office is just such geniuses. He provides a goal for this team when they needed it last night and has that playoff experience, and he showed it last night. He was awesome last night. He's been awesome since they acquired him.
I was going to say, besides Ovi, I think he was the best player on the ice. They traded a second-round pick for him, and people thought that was a bit steep, but he's still young. He was the fastest player out there last night. He was involved. Every time he was on the ice, it looked like a scoring chance was happening. I was very, very impressed with him. It's crazy. The Caps are now his sixth team in 10 years, and he's good and
he's a hired gun,
everywhere
brother.
he goes. What's that?
He's a hired gun.
Yeah, I love him. We have him under contract, and he playing with Ovi, it added to Ovi's game, having a guy who's out there skating 1 billion miles per hour. Beauvillier just was so impressive, and he's a gamer, and he's always been a gamer, and I'm glad we have him.
All right, Nate, this week also is the NFL draft, and you got the 29th pick. I know you used to have been having the early picks. Are you going to be patient enough to wait and see what Peters does, or do you feel like everybody else now, I'm starting to hear, they got to go with the sexy pick? No, I don't want sexy. I want something that's going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have 5 picks in the whole draft. And so I think I'm now with a lot of people who think we're going to trade out of the first round and just start trying to accumulate a few more picks. This team we know does need depth. We do need to get a bit younger in the depth area. If there's someone at 29 that Adam Peters feels is like, I need to take him, cannot miss, use that 29th pick. Otherwise, just trade back, get a couple more picks. We don't have a third. We don't have a fifth. I wouldn't be terribly upset either way. If we take someone at 29, that says to me that there's someone there that we need immediately. And if we trade back, that means Adam Peters sees the wider scope of this draft and says there's a few players that we can get in the 3rd and 5th round that I think has more value than the 29th overall pick. So whatever he does, I'm happy with.
Is there something that you want to walk away from the draft with, even if it's not necessarily in the first round, but is there a position, a player, maybe someone, a running back, something? Is there anything that you're like, I want to walk away from the NFL draft with this, or I'm going to be a little bit disappointed?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think we went to the NFC Championship game last year. That's to put it, I always think about this. One game from the Super Bowl in Jaden's rookie season.
Yeah.
So there's nothing I'm, stamping my feet over here about. There's nothing to complain about. There's nothing that I'm saying this team needs to do better. I'm trusting this front office with my life. more or less, where when they make a decision, I'm 100% on board because they've given us no reason not to trust them. They're not the Dan Snyder era. There's no reason for me to sit here and say, well, I think we should do this with the pick. No, I totally trust Adam Peters and the squad he has put together. And whatever they do, I'm saying that's the right move.
I'm asking you this because I can't stop thinking about it. Have you seen the Commanders' Twitter today with the video of Jaden running into the facility?
I have not.
You need to look it up. Just it gives you all the feelings of like a little kid once again seeing that your team is good. Like, what's your?
We're back.
I can't stop thinking about it because I almost you forget that like that dude is our quarterback. Like that dude is so special, and you never want to take it for granted. Like we're watching this OV run. How special is it to have him? And then there's also a quarterback in DC that, to your point, took this team to an NFC Championship game in his rookie season.
Can you believe
it's
it?
Awesome.
Yeah, we are very, very lucky to be DC sports fans right now. We're about to get Cooper Flag on the Wizards. We have the best quarterback in the league in Jaden. We have OV going on a Stanley Cup hunt after breaking the record. And we have a baseball team. So it's a good time to be a DC sports fan for sure. This video is amazing, by the way.
I'm going to be over at Nats Park. They're giving away James Wood bobbleheads tonight. So at least there's that for the Nationals. There's James Wood. There's a couple of guys. But yeah, to your point, at some point this team needs to win some ball games. Nate, it's always good to talk, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, Nate. Take care, brother.
Let's go, Caps. That's Barstool Nate. He joined us on the Rude Guest Hotline.